If you want to make your data available in your organization, one approach is to treat your data as a product. Data product is a relatively new term that's gaining prominence, and this video is my attempt at explaining what it is, what are its key aspects, and in what context it exists. I've seen a few definitions, but I like the simple one. A data product is a reliable, reusable data asset that's maintained for specific business objectives. Data as a product is the name of the approach that's adopted by companies that plan to use data products as the primary means of making the data available across the organization. Keep in mind that if this approach is adopted and you start creating data products, not every data asset is a data product. When you promote your asset to a data product, it comes with certain commitments and as such, higher maintenance costs, so this has to be done thoughtfully. I encountered the term data product in the context of the data mesh that was introduced in 2019. But I've been building data products even before that. The problem of what's the best way to make the data available to whoever's interested predates the existence of the IT industry. A lot of knowledge about the term data product is the collection of best practices in regards to this question and technological solutions to common problems that are encountered. So, what makes a good data product? These best practices can be grouped into 4 categories: customer focus, discoverability, documentation, and governance. Let's tackle them one by one. A data product has consumers, who are your customers. The goal is to deliver the most value to your customers with the resources you have available. This means that you'll need to prioritize new features they request, as you do with other software products. Feature requests might also come from other stakeholders, and it's the data product owner that's accountable for making these tough decisions and saying no to some of the requests. Imagine a feature request that would bring a lot of value to some users, but it doesn't fit into a wider strategy for your product or your domain. It's the product owner who needs to address that. Customer focus also means that you might need to dedicate resources to support your customers in case of issues like outages or bugs. If you produce faulty data, there usually will be an expectation that you not only fix the bug in the application, but also fix the corrupt data. This builds trust in your product and allows your customers to focus on how they can create value instead of building elaborate failovers into their solutions. You won't have customers if they can't find information about your product. You want your product to be discoverable. A common way to solve this problem is a data catalog. It's a class of systems that allows you to browse and find documentation of the data products that are available. There are many systems in this category. Examples are Data Hub, AWS Glue Data Catalog, Event Catalog, but even a wiki or a Git repository can perform the function of a data catalog. Alright, we've found the product we're interested in. In the product documentation, you can find metadata, the data model, and interfaces. There usually is some predefined set of metadata that your organization needs, like tags for cost allocation and discoverability, domain, or the data product owner. Also, some information about available interfaces, governance policies, and other aspects of the product might be present here. The data model. There's an internal data model and the interfaces. Typically, you'll thoroughly document your internal model, while for the interfaces, you'll document only the interface-specific aspects. You might decide to provide interface documentation only, especially if there's only one available. But if you add more interfaces, you will find yourself repeating the documentation and might decide to move this documentation to the data model. We document the data model primarily through field descriptions and data lineage. Field descriptions are usually just text. Often you might highlight what values can your consumers expect. For example, a text field might really be a 6-digit code that always starts with digits 2 to 5. Data lineage is an explanation where each data point is coming from. Is this a Boolean value coming from a checkbox that the user checked in your UI, or is this coming from some external system? For more complex problems, you might see links here that refer to the diagrams or videos explaining these concepts. You've defined your internal data model, but if you're exposing data, you don't want to grant access to your internals like a database. This would introduce tight capping to your solution. Your data product might have multiple interfaces. For example, you might expose your sales data through a REST API so that apps in other domains can use it, but you might also persist daily snapshots of your sales transactions in an S3 bucket for analytical purposes. Each interface will have a separate specification. An interface specification is a schema and some descriptive metadata. For example, how fresh is the data, specifying at what time is the daily snapshot performed. What's the SLA that the owner commits to? and what's the rate limiting on the interface, if any. This list is open and can vary by organization or by product. In this section, you also define backwards compatibility and deprecation policy, clearly specifying that after a major version upgrade, your consumers have 6 months to migrate, and then the interface goes down, will save you a lot of difficult conversations and stress down the road. It also builds predictability and trust in your data products. Alright, now our data is discoverable and well documented. What's next? Your product exists in a wider context, and most times you'll need to conform to your organization's governance policies. The list of policies will be unique to your organization, but common categories of these policies are security, compliance, and data quality. How do you protect PII data that's present in your data product? What about the right to forget, where you're obligated to remove all data produced by a customer at his request? For some use cases, these problems are not relevant. But if you're rolling out an enterprise platform to support data as a product approach, you'll usually have to provide solutions to these problems once you start managing data for more sensitive domains. Usually, one of the first problems to solve in the governance category is access control. Nearly always, you'll want to have a defined self-service process to manage access to your data products. It improves security, transparency, and reduces overhead compared to granting or revoking access manually. Let's summarize it. The data as a product approach is a set of principles that address a critical problem: how to solve data sharing on an enterprise scale. It's a collection of best practices and technological solutions that are valuable in separation, and together they build a comprehensive, efficient approach that brings value to data producers, consumers, and other stakeholders, like security, legal, or architecture functions. I group them into these 4 categories, but the classification might differ from author to author. The best part about it is that if you want to adopt this approach, you don't have to do it all at once. You can slowly shape aspects of how you share data based on these principles. You can roll out in less sensitive domains first. Once you do that, during the adoption process, you'll figure out what's the next improvement you want to make to your setup. Hey, my name is Jan. I hope this video was valuable to you, and I would appreciate your feedback in the comments. In this channel, I'll be covering important ideas loosely centered about data streaming. If you like this video and would like to see more, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. See ya.